So today, we're playing the Reaper, and we have a big buff build, using a mana mastery and the Cauldron. This lets us stack up a bunch of mana, and make those mana orbs explode, giving our Bloodthorne massive damage. And we may also add in a stable recombobulator, not for recombobulating, but for those buffs. But hey, check this run out, and let me know what you think of this build. Okay, let's go and do some rank games with a random character and see who we're going to get today. So it looks like we're playing the Reaper, and we do start off with a Health Pot and a Walrus Tusk, and that is a freaking Claws of Attack, which we definitely want to grab. I'm going to actually bit this a little bit like so, because we're going to grab the gloves. I would like to grab the shield since it got a tiny bit of a buff. It went literally from preventing 6 damage to 7 damage, so I think that's going to be pretty good early on. But unfortunately, if we do take it, we cannot actually buy some storage if it shows up, and I was really hoping to find some storage. I'm going to grab the garlic. I'm going to roll once because that leaves just enough to grab a leather bag. I want to grab a whetstone and a wooden sword also. But we definitely want Claws of Attack, and we're going to have our gloves, a target, a broom with a garlic. I might actually reserve another health pot as well. And let's keep moving for now. We should be in a really awesome spot once we craft up our Claws of Attack. Our opponent will have a lot more DPS than us. We're also going to have a little bit more healing with 2 nature items in the Fine Wheat Basket and a health pot. So unfortunately, we could be in lots of trouble unless we inflict a lot of blinds. We are looking pretty bad. Actually, no. Just pausing the video here very quickly just to ask you to subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks. Now let's get back to the video. Unfortunately, it was looking kind of awesome, but then definitely fell short. So for this round, I'm going to grab the whetstone, I'm going to grab the wooden sword, and I'm going to have to sell the broom to grab another health pot. And with that, I am going to move on with this. So we have our garlic in that fanny pack along with our Claws Attack to increase the speed of both these here. So the Claws Attack and a wooden sword, we should be able to deal a good bit of damage. The problem is, our opponent is going to have that shelter, which is going to provide a good bit of healing. However, once the battle rage ends, we should be in a fantastic spot, and with 2 health pots, we should have a lot of healing and smashing. Pretty good overall. I'm going to grab some storage, but I'm going to roll. I'm actually going to grab another Walrus Tusk, just in case we want to craft up another Claws of Attack. But I'm going to move on. Once again, we should start off with a little bit of spikes, which is going to increase the attack speed of Claws of Attack, even just a little bit. And it also means our opponent's going to take 1 damage too. But with the hammer, that's not going to be as super valuable as someone using a bunch of wooden swords or a bunch of daggers. But with our health pots, we should be in a big advantage. Even though our opponent does have a stone badge and some bananas. So overall, smashing for it. Now we do have a choice to make, and I'm thinking about going slime time over super spacious or shielded. Shielded is going to make our armor trigger a little bit faster while making our shields a block. If we took that early shield, I would be more inclined to take this, but we're not going to be able to take it. Super spacious, he's pretty awesome. Not going to be taken though. So it leaves us with slime time, which is going to give us 2 little tiny goblins, which we're going to want both these. I'm going to grab the undead Fadama, which is the Amulet of Life, which is awesome. I'm going to have to reserve the storage and this big old banana, and we're going to put our goblins in these positions for now, which means every time that these proc, we should be able to get a little bit of healing. Now unfortunately, I was hoping to craft up potentially Hero Sword, but unfortunately we haven't seen any other whetstones. So it's looking pretty rough in that regard. We might actually want to sack that and go for a different weapon altogether. However, this is actually looking pretty good for us. Our opponent does have a bit of healing with the spicy banana, except they only have 1 weapon. They benefit a lot more by having extra weapons. But that Molten Dagger is scaling up in damage, but smashing. Pretty good. Okay, we can go for that Hero Sword since the whetstone did show up. But that's a freaking Hunger Blade. So I'm thinking we sell it, we grab our Hunger Blade, we grab our storage, we sell our whetstone, we grab our banana, and we grab stone. And hey, we do move on. And the problem is we don't have the healing herbs or regens. We don't have the ability to scale up our vampirism, which is pretty unfortunate for right now. We should still have a lot of healing from the goblins, but our opponent is inflicting a lot of blind on us, which is decreasing accuracy. Now they also have that food, which is going to be scaling up their crit chance along with their accuracy, and it's also going to be giving them some block too. Our opponent has stacked up 4 blinds, which makes our accuracy 70%. However, So far, we are still in lean. We still have our health pot. Amazing. The procs. And super close. And smashing. Really awesome. Now, that's a pineapple, but that is an undead Phenomena, which I'm going to grab. Which is another Amulet of Life, which is fantastic, actually. That's actually pretty darn amazing. I think we actually do want this pineapple. I'm going to roll once. And I definitely need this potion balls. Now we're going to take out the stone. We're going to save our goals. We are going to continue on. With Amulet of Life, we do start off with more max life. And we get more healing efficiency from our health pots. And our little goblins. And with our goblins, I do want to craft up a vampiric goobers with our hunger blades. But for now, we do have to survive. Going to begin a bunch of little daggers and that hammer, which is scaling up in damage. And it's looking pretty bad for us unless we heal back up. And no, definitely not. That was a big smack from the hammer. And actually, that is a mana orb, which I do kind of want to grab. But first of all, let's go ahead and grab this pineapple. I'm going to roll once. Twice even. I'm going to sell a stone to grab another goblin. I'm going to reserve the stamina stack, just for a tiny bit more storage, and we are going to move on. It would have been nice to get some healing herbs so we can actually craft up those big potions, or at least get some vampirism for our hunger blade. Now again, we're going to begin another blind stacking, so that eye lamp would have been pretty much the play, to be quite honest. Because the eye lamp would have been scaling up our accuracy, since we're facing so many blind stacking opponents. However, we're stacking up a lot of spikes. We're getting our power. Every time we stack up spikes, our claws attack is getting faster and faster. And our opponent's also taking some decent damage from it too. But awesome. We do have to choose our subclass. I'm going to do something a little bit strange. I'm thinking about going for Cauldron. The reason why I want to go for Cauldron is because we're going to get a mana orb and we're going to use this to proc or to craft up our strong health box. Let's grab it for now. Let's grab our storage, and that's literally a healing herbs, which is straight up awesome. So I actually want the box of riches. I want to be super great, take a box of riches. I also want the healing herbs, and I also want this mana orb. So for this one, I'm going to take the box of riches. I'm going to take the healing herb. I'm going to roll once more, and that's all I'm going to do for now. We're going to take our mana orb. We should be in a pretty good spot, and we'll see. So Cauldron is going to provide a good bit of healing with our Amulet of Life. It's also going to stack up a bunch of mana, which we don't need. But that heat is also pretty darn good, increasing our activation speed of all our items. So we'll see. Now this point is rocking a bow and arrow with a badger on. So every time this hits, it's going to get faster and faster. And they are scaling up their crit chance with that leaf badge. Although that Shaman Mask is using up that leaf, that luck, to begin a lot of buffs. Our opponent does a Battle Rage, which is negating a lot of our damage. But Battle Rage doesn't last forever, and unfortunately, our spikes doesn't do much to the ranged weapons. But overall, still smashing, still fantastic. And we should get a big power spike right now with that health pot. We're also going to grab this bit of storage. We'll grab another health pot, which means you can't grab our mana orb unless we sell you, which I think we are going to grab for now. I'm going to sell our garlic to roll once. That's another claws attack. I actually want another Anodyne for the Amulet, and I actually want another mana orb too. Let's keep it going for now. And we'll see. At this point, it's rocking a spicy banana with a burning torch and a burning sword. They're going to be stacking up a lot of heats, increasing the damage on that burning torch. They're actually going to have a good bit of healing with that spicy banana. We should have lots of healing with our cauldron, with our pots, with our little tiny goblins. And we are becoming a big mana buff bomb, which is looking actually pretty fantastic overall. Amazing, actually. And with that, we actually kind of want to grab Mana Mastery, since we're probably coming at a big mana buff explosion. Hell yeah. Okay, stable recombobulator. God. Honestly, this looks insane right now. Every 2.5 seconds gain a random buff and cleanse a random, or cleanse a debuff. I definitely want to grab this for sure. But I also want to grab this amulet, which is the Amulet of Energy, which is actually going to be amazing for 2 mana orbs. And it's also going to be pretty good for a Hunger Blade also. I'm actually going to leave off the gloves. I'm going to roll once, and I definitely need this storage. So I'm going to sell both these, unfortunately, to grab this for now. Okay, we did move our whole setup around, so we have our mana orbs prioritizing our weapons along with our cauldron, along with our pineapple. Now, our setup isn't super fantastic for a cauldron, but it'll have to do for now. This should be pretty good. We're going to be crafting up another strong health pot, and we should get tons of healing, except we're going to be getting a Doom Cap, which is going to reduce a lot of our healing, and it's going to be inflicting a lot of poison on us. However, with our health pots, we do cleanse quite a bit of it. Once we get our unique stable recombobulator, we should be able to cleanse a lot of debuffs. However, can we survive for long enough? We've stacked up a lot of buffs, and actually this is looking pretty darn awesome. And before I do move on, I do not want to craft up these goobers as of yet, until we get our... Okay, we should have crafted up. It is crazy that it just shows up. We definitely need to craft you up. Now, I do actually want to grab the stable recombobulator. I don't exactly want to recombobulate anything right now. Unfortunately, I want to keep every single thing that we do have. I do want to sell our box of riches because I do want to grab a bloody amulet, and we can craft out some strong vampiric potions. Which I'm thinking we at least want one of these for sure. I'm also going to grab this little gemstone for now. We are going to move on. I'm going to leave this pineapple behind as we craft up our goobers. Unfortunately, we had to wait around to actually craft it up. Now, this opponent is going to be inflicting a lot of poison once again. We do cleanse, not a crazy amount, but at least some of that poison with our health pots. But our opponent is going to have a lot of armor, and that poison is stacking up pretty bad. That's a lot of poison on us, but we are getting lots of healing. And now we're starting to deal lots of damage because we have so much power stacked up from our mana orbs and a mason. So with that, we got ourselves that goobers. We do want to switch this and craft up this potion for now. That's another mana orb, a toad, some pretty darn good items. Not a whole lot of storage. So I want to grab both these. I do want to roll, and we definitely need some storage because I do want to craft up the blood goobers. I do want to have our toad basically sitting in between our mana orbs like this. So when they do proc, we should get tons of healing. But for now, we're going to be crafting up another strong vampiric potion. We're going to wait around to craft up our goobers. We're going to have our 3 mana orbs situated like so. And we're going to have our toad just target one of our mana orbs for now, which will be pretty good. Now, our opponent is actually using Time Dilator. Well, that Solaris is taking a lot of that ticking for us, which is going to cleanse a lot of debuffs from, but we don't stack up debuffs. We're just stacking up a bunch of mana, becoming a mana bomb. And this is looking pretty darn amazing. We've stacked up so much buffs. It's kind of insane. And so far, this is looking pretty darn good. And smashing, actually. This is really fantastic. This is looking like a lot of fun. And our DPS is not turbo insane. 30 DPS, but it's still pretty decent at this point in the game. Now, it did take us quite a bit of time to deal 643 damage. As for heals, though, we have a 43 healing per second. So I do believe we can actually make this a lot better. So I think we can continue on into survival. And speaking of continuing on, I actually want to grab up a Bloodthorne. First of all, let's grab some storage. Let's grab this as we roll. I actually want this too, and I really want this stamina attack. Okay, since we are going Bloodthorne, which we probably should be going for Mana Thirst, I'm going to sell our Claws attack, which we probably should have kept for some Vampirism. Because the more weapons we do have, Vampirism is going to be much, much better first, but I do want to start adding in some of our items once again. Right now, we are going to move on with this situation with our stable recombobulator to be a trigger for one of our mana orbs along with our mana mastery. And let's keep it going for now. We're crafting up our blood goobers, we're crafting up another strong vampiric potion, and we are crafting up Bloodthorne. So we should be able to get a big buff explosion. However, this opponent actually deal so much damage immediately. Unfortunately, they just stacked up a lot of poison on us immediately and dealt a crazy amount of damage straight away. Smelly Wall with some Stone Skin potions with a Dark Saber is going to be nuts, unfortunately. We'll see, we got a Bloodthorne, which should be fantastic for us. Which does mean I do want to grab this Prismatic Orb. Which does mean I can't grab a Heart Container or the Side Lamp, unfortunately. And with that, we are going to move on with this for now. We do have a Cauldron in this position to be getting increased speed from our strong potions along with our Pineapple. We have our Mana Orb in here to be targeting our Bloodthorne along with our stable recombobulator. with our weapon, with our pineapple, and with our weapon and our stable recombobulator. Unfortunately, we do need to get better items for this mana orb for now, but we are going to rock on. Once we get our heart container in, we should be in a pretty good spot, but for now, we do have to move on. So we should be able to get a ton of vampirism from the very beginning, and we should be able to stack up that mana pretty fast. Once we do activate our big mana buff explosion, we should get a ton of vampirism and a lot of spikes, and that is fantastic. That Bloodthorne should be dealing a lot of damage, and we should be getting a lot of healing. Now, we still only have a 30 DPS. As for heals though, we have a 40 healing per second. Vast majority of it coming from that vampirism, and that strong vampiric potion. But looking pretty good for sure. We got ourselves a bunch of gemstones, and we do want to keep offering up these gemstones. Let's take our heart container. Now, I did actually want to grab an eye lamp for now, which I'm going to grab. I'm going to roll once. That's another freaking mana orb. We could craft up mana thirst, which I'm definitely down for, and we do need that leather bag pretty darn bad. I would love to keep these gemstones, but I think we actually need to sell them. So I think we sell both these and we keep this purple one for now. We grab that bit of storage, we move this out, and we add our heart container in for right now in this position, because that is going to be a little bit faster than a banana. And we can have our banana situated over like so. We definitely want a bit of extra storage. We are going to move on. This should be pretty decent for now, and we'll see. At this point, he's going to be stacking up a lot of max life with that Thorn Bloom. They're going to be stacking up a lot of power, which is going to be quite scary because you're going to be dealing lots and lots of damage. Once so far, we've stacked up a crazy amount of vampirism, and all of a sudden, we're healing back to full, and we're dealing crazy damage. Yeah, we have 100 healing per second craziness going on, and we're dealing 50 DPS, which is pretty decent. It could be better for sure, but not too bad for a single Bloodthorne with no crits. We definitely want to grab some storage. We want to grab our mana orb. We definitely want to grab another Hunger Blade. I definitely want to grab more spike generation, but I do want to roll once. I definitely want some storage for sure. And that flute is looking kind of tasty since it is on sale for 3, which I definitely want to grab. Which means I'm actually going to sell its healing herbs to grab a tiny bit more space. I'll be back in a second while I sort our inventory out. Okay, we did change the whole setup around to be some much different. We have our Blood Goblet over here to be targeting from our stable recombobulator with our slime time, with our Bloodthorne, with our eye lamp. Our mana orbs are going to be prioritizing our weapons. It's going to be prioritizing these items here and also these items here. And this should be pretty decent. We have our Toad targeting all our mana orbs, so when they do proc, we should get a ton of life. Now, our Prismatic Orb is not going to be giving us any mana from the very beginning, which is not super great. But it is going to give us a ton of vampiric items. And once we craft up this mana thirst, we should be able to place it in a much better position to be getting some mana. And that's a whole lot of cold on us. And unfortunately, we didn't stand a chance because that was too much debuffs on us. But now we can fit this in. We should be able to get a lot more mana for ourselves. We're just going to move this back over here. We're going to grab an extra Toad. I do want to grab an extra pineapple. We're going to slot that in like so. And this is looking pretty good. And now we actually can't afford this flute, which means I'm probably going to sell this to grab that flute. Add our Toad into this position for now. And all of a sudden, we should be able to start off with 8 mana. It's not crazy insane mana, but we should be able to get some vampirism also. We also want to flip this way so we get that little bit of extra vampirism. Let's keep it going for now. This should be much, much better. With a mana thirst, it should give a lot less stamina. And we'll see. That's a lot of mana stacked up. Our opponent is going to be removing a lot of our buffs, unfortunately. And if you remove the buffs of Bloodthorne, it's literally just a big stick. We did get a big buff bomb from our mana orb, and we're still continuing this Excalibur buffs. Our opponent does have invulnerability. That Fancy Rapier is going to be scaling up in damage, but honestly, we have tons of healing. That fatigue is set in. We should be taking lots of fatigue damage from Mr. Struggle's build, but we are pretty much full health the entire way through. So our DPS was about 50 DPS, and honestly, our opponent did manage to get rid of a lot of our vampirism. Their DPS a lot lower than ours. As for heals though, 70 healing per second. Definitely would have been much higher if we had more vampirism for sure, as we would have had a 52 vampirism overall. As for our mana gain, we managed to use up 3 of our mana orbs. We managed to get a 7 mana per second, which is also pretty good. that Amulet of Energy actually providing so much. If we did get another one of these, that would be insanely good for us. And speaking of insanely good, Mana Orb. I was going to take the health pot, but honestly, there's no real point. We could have a target our strong vampiric potion, but I would love to craft up another strong health pot. Mana Orb is amazing though, we'll take it for sure. Now Moon Armor would have been fantastic too, but it is what it is. I'm just going to leave this in for now as we continue to roll. And we should be taking another little goobling, I don't think so. And I would love to grab another pineapple for the very end, but it is what it is. And this is it, this is going to be a fun setup. I'm going to have a toad, honestly right now just targeting one Mana Orb along with our heart container, along with our extra toad. And this toad to be doing the exact same on this side, except with a banana. Unfortunately, we're going to roll on with this because with our Mana Orbs in this sort of situation, we should get tons of mana generated up pretty decently. Now with a Prismatic Orb in this position, it's only going to give us 3 Vampirism, 4 mana, and 4% increased healing efficiency. But it's going to be this way for now. And we're going to see, is this going to be good enough? Can we survive out? Can we win out? Or are we going to lose? We'll see though. We are going to begin Excalibur type builds. I'm going to slow this one down just a small bit more, down to 0.5. And they are running Excalibur with the Deerwood Guardian. And with that flame badge, they're going to be stacking up a lot of heat and a lot of max life, which is going to be super scary. They might actually get a big mana buff explosion too, which is definitely scary, but that's a lot of buffs. But again, we're stacking up a crazy amount of buffs. And we should have tons of healing. Our opponent is not really putting a dent in our HP. We stacked up a crazy amount of power, spikes, and vampirism, and smashing. That Bloodthorne dealing an absurd amount of damage, for sure. And with that, we ended up with 140 DPS, with Bloodthorne, spikes, Mana Thirst, and that Bloody Goobers, dealing 2000 damage within 15 seconds. Basically double our opponent's damage. Well, a little bit shorter, but around that. Now let's compare heals between both of our builds. And we got 180 healing per second, while our opponent got an 85 healing. They also got a 30 max health gain per second, while we basically got 8, which is actually not too bad. More surprising than I thought it was going to be. 8.4 because we managed to get quite a bit of health from these. So basically we had 126. They had basically about 120. But yeah, this build was definitely a ton of fun. Now, if you actually replaced our Mana Thirst with a Staff on Healing, with the Bloodthorne, and with this whole setup, we would have done so much more damage, to be quite honest. But it really depends on how much Mana Orbs we do actually get. We managed to get super lucky and managed to get 5 overall, which is pretty darn awesome. We did low roll in the Prismatic Orbs. We definitely wanted to grab at least 2 or maybe even 3 of these. That would be crazy good too. But it is what it is. And we did survive 3 lives left. Let's go and see just how much rank points we managed to get. Plus 12 ranks up quite a bit actually. But anyways, I'm going to leave it for now. Just want to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, or even consider subscribing. And I hope you keep looking out for the next one. See you next time.